Difficulty 9, 10, and 11 in Laboratory 0 aren't super worth farming because you can just do difficulty 8 and you'll be able to hit high enough save data tiers to have really good builds anyways. But you do still want to clear these eventually because they have the first time rewards. Good bit of currency. This is one of the most important resources in the game right here. But when you do difficulty 9, 10, and 11, there's a little buff on the boss at the end that makes the fight a lot more difficult. However, they are nerfing this boss fight. It's going to be, I would say, quite significantly easier. So let's talk about exactly what's going to happen to the fight. The part that we're looking for is here. It's kind of buried in the patch notes, but that's just because there was a lot of stuff in the patch notes. The functionality of the rare species, Pursuer of the Void, possessed by the interior bosses appearing in Laboratory 0 difficulties 9, 10, and 11 will be improved. This is just the shiny buff that the Void Dog gets when you fight it at the very end of the higher difficulties. At the start of the turn, it would gain 1 morale, and this gets out of hand very, very quickly, because 20% more damage stacking every single turn, eventually it's just going to one-shot you. Like, you pretty much have a... Depends on how bulky you are, but roughly, like, you're not passing probably 9, 10 turns on a usual run. It's really just a DPS check. You have to kill the boss before it kills you, which is, of course, subject to RNG. It's a chaos run, so you're not going to be able to, like, combine a bunch of save datas. You have to do your one run and hope you got a really, really good run. The change afterwards, I would say, is a lot easier. Instead, it has 3 hunger, and then increased by 1 for each turn up until that point. And it gains the hunger at the start of the turn. The reason this is easier is because hunger is still 20% damage increase per stack. So it would start off with 60% damage on the first turn, but when you hit an enemy with hunger, each time you hit it, the hunger will decrease. So this means that by attacking the boss, you'll be able to reduce the amount of damage that it deals, and this is much easier to deal with. So assuming that it starts with 3 hunger, and then on the next turn it would go 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8. Pretty much if you manage to hit the boss twice in a turn, you'd go even on how much damage boost the boss is getting, and if you hit it more than twice, then suddenly you're taking a lot less damage. For example, on the 5th turn, the boss would have 5 morale with the old buff. That would be 100% damage. And then after the change, it would have, I think, 7 hunger, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not sure if it's 7 or 8, let's just say 7. If you hit the boss 5 times, then that 7 hunger gets reduced to 2, which is only 40% damage increase instead of 100%. So you can see how this is going to make you take a lot less damage in the long run. And I would say that this makes it's still a DPS check, because eventually, like, the boss gets 10 hunger. Good luck hitting it 10 times in a turn. You're going to have to take some of the damage, but this makes it so that you'll be able to reduce the hunger a lot more, or reduce the damage that you take a lot more easily. And I think this also synergizes well with something like Chizuru, because multi-hits do reduce hunger multiple times, and Chizuru's got quite a lot of multi-hits in her kit. Even when you're faced with like 10 hunger, if you have the right turn, like the correct setup and everything, you just use like 2 cards and all of that hunger will be gone. So I think this makes the fight easier for any team, really, but especially for Chizuru. I think she benefits a ton from this change. Now, in terms of actually clearing the higher difficulties, the main thing when you're rerolling is, honestly, if you're going for first clear, don't even bother looking for, like, good save data or whatever. Like, the one I showed earlier is, like, pretty good. Like, it's 3 modifiers that aren't super hard to deal with. But why do that when you could just do this? Roll for something super easy. Loss 1, minus 40% credits gained from battle. Which, like, sure, the loss of credits suck, but, like, there's nothing else here. This is pretty much bare minimum. And really, if you hit gangrene on this, that's basically a positive. That's basically a positive trait, if anything, just for stress management purposes. So definitely, especially if you're struggling to clear difficulty 11, I would reroll a little bit, try and get like the easiest possible modifiers you can, because when you're farming, just do difficulty 8. Like, you don't need to care about what the save data tier is you're just trying to do your first clear, and then we never touch difficulty 11 ever again. But that is it, just quickly going over the nerfs that they're doing to make difficulties 9, 10, and 11 much easier for everybody to clear.